everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Crank up your engines, rev them up, and let's cruise on into this new episode. I am one of your hosts, Mark.
And I'll be cruising along with you, Mark. I'll be your co-host or your co-pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that what they call people in the second seat?
How about you?
Co-driver?
No. How about you just sit over there in the passenger seat? You manage my navigations and my tunes.
Can I just sit in the back seat and maybe take a little snooze? It'll be, super comfortable with all the bumping and jumping that the cars be doing.
Indeed.
What's up, man?
Oh no, nothing. Just hanging out, man. It's been a busy week. Been working me like a dog at work. I've had so many dumb meetings doing dumb things, and I'm glad not to be doing those. But I can I got off of a meeting talking about one thing, and then they sent me another invite for another meeting in 30 minutes to talk about the exact same thing we just talked about. And I was so mad.
Man, that's why I've never wanted a sit-down business type job, because I'm like, I don't think I could do it.
Dude.
Especially because you're in office, so it's like people can watch you. Whereas at least if it was at home, you could just do dishes and just kind of clock out.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that I was working from home Thursday and Friday.
Oh.
And they were just meetings. And this is Friday afternoon. And I'm like, well, first off, why are you planning a meeting at 1 o'clock on a Friday afternoon? That's dumb. Okay? And then to plan another meeting at 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, you are out of your mind. I was so hot getting off that second call. I was like, what are you doing? And then typically what I'll do is, I'll go get the kids, and when I get back done from getting them, I'll log on one more time just to see if the world's burning. And it never is on a Friday afternoon, but I feel obligated to check. So I'll log back in about 4:30 just to make sure. And so I log in for a second, just long enough for me to be like, okay. And I log in, I got 3 emails, and these dudes are still sending emails at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Absolutely not.
And I'm like, what are you doing? During the pandemic, I would get emails from these dudes at 9, 10 o'clock at night that I would get the next morning and go, what are you doing up? Oh, well, I couldn't. I'm I couldn't sleep. So all
right, save some sleep for the rest of us.
You don't need to be doing work. You've already put in your 8 hours, man. Go home.
I'm just doing my civic duty. Sorry, brother. I take my job seriously around here.
Oh. So what about you?
It was also not the greatest week for me. My lovely little van that I drive took some damage this week after I had dealt with one dog that was a very over the top and reactive dog. And then I leave his house, but there's only one way that you can go, and on this super tiny curvy road, and I was right next to a big old rock wall, and on the other side comes a massive dump truck.
Ooh.
And it was over the line, partially on my side of the road, so it's either it hits me on the driver's side or I hit this rock wall. And yeah, that was not a good day. So I'm switching into a lower tier van because I was driving the most expensive of $90,000 van.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, okay. Went home and just was like, I need to go to bed. Rough times in the kingdom over here, Mark. But it'll be okay. We're getting through it.
Well, oh man, I don't even know how to come back and say something fun to that. It's just
Sorry, man.
that sucks, man. No, man, it's cool. Like get it off your chest. I get it. I've been helping people, not, and I am not complaining about this. Uh, Actually, I kind of enjoy it because Lord knows I do it to enough people throughout the week. But I've kind of inexplicably become like the person people want to come and trauma dump to. And I'm okay with it, man. A guy at work's been going through some stuff, and I start off with a, "Hey, buddy, how you doing, man? I ain't seen you in a couple weeks." And it went from there, and he was just like, "I haven't really talked to anyone about this, so strap in." Uh,
Nice.
he's going through some stuff, and
Oh,
so I'm trying to help him out. Um, it's a whole thing. So
yeah. I feel you on that. I love when people like want to talk about their complicated lives, and it's like a bit of trauma dumping, but it's also like them just want to talk some major shit. And I'm like, I love when people want to talk their shit and spill some tea. I'm the person that like a good majority of our friends know. And the other night I got kind of upset about something, and I just started going off in a group chat of just like Chris and one other person, and they were both like, "Damn, speak your truth." Because I was like, if anyone's gonna get it, it's these two. Yeah, I feel you.
well, um, I want to talk about this last week, and I just want to touch on it for a second because if you haven't seen it, I really think you should.
Oh,
Um,
are you talking about all the Taylor Swift news of is she going to make it to the Super Bowl? I've been so stressed.
OMG.
Oh my gosh. I haven't slept. I haven't drank a single drop of water. Who am I without knowing?
but but did you know? But did you know that the Super Bowl starts in like an hour, and we don't know if Taylor Swift has made it to the Super Bowl yet to see her boyfriend Travis Kelsey, who may or may not win.
Gasp,
But seeing as how she's a deep state plant, I'm sure she's probably going to make it because she time traveled.
bro. Apparently there was like news that she had touched down in like Los Angeles or somewhere. And Chris was like, I don't even know where the like Super Bowl is. And I was like, I don't either. But the fact that they're like, oh, her plane has touched down. Will she make it? Because she had to refuel. Jeez. It's been so insane to watch all of that stuff go on the news. But that's so funny. But what did you have that probably is something?
It is completely un-Taylor Swift related.
Oh,
Um,
God bless.
it is the new Masters of the Universe series on Netflix. This is the sequel series to, it's a sequel series to the He-Man stuff that came out last year, and most notably kind of produced and story concept created by Kevin Smith. And last year, I really loved it. It was Masters of the Universe Revelation. I loved it. A lot of people were really upset with Kevin Smith because he was touting it as like, oh, it's a He-Man story and blah, 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 blah. And everyone was just kind of up and pissy because, spoiler alert, He-Man's not in it a lot. It's a Tila story. And, bro dudes get really upset because they're like, brr, women. I don't understand why I gotta watch a He-Man show that's got focused mainly on women. Honestly, I thought it was fantastic. The last episode, when everything's happening, literally made me like cheer in my seat as I like put my hands up. I was like, yes, this is everything I loved as a kid. It was wonderful. And this new season was just as fantastic. It's 5 episodes. You're in and out. It is great. And again, the last episode, the animation is just magnificent. You shut your mouth. It was so fantastic that I'm sitting there just, I think I tweeted this and I specifically said, like, I'm sitting there watching this show in dumbfounded awe of the animation. It is beautiful. It is immaculate. Patrick Stannard is the animation director. He's kind of like a big supervisor guy in charge of Powerhouse Animation, the guy who does or the people who do like Kong Skull Island and the Castlevania series, and they've also done. He's also the guy who has done work with Knights of the Light Table. If you know who that is, they've done the twerp video Starlight Brigade, which is one of my favorite music videos of all time. Go check it out. I say all that to say, this shit's great. It is dope. Go watch it. Super fun.
Very nice.
And they tease it for a third season as well, and I hope they go where I think they're going to go because it's great. Stars Mark Hamill, Lena Headey, Melissa Benoist, like a bunch of people that have worked with Kevin Smith in the past. And you can say what you want about Kevin Smith, whether you like his stuff now or not. This man is obviously doing something good in Hollywood because once he works with somebody, they always tend to want to go back and work with Kevin Smith. So
nice.
It's, I don't know. I think that says a lot about him. I'm just saying. So yeah, it's definitely been a super fun watch. Raven, have you watched anything or have you gotten caught up in anything like that?
I've just been on my One Piece rampage, just trying to continue to get through it.
Oh man.
I watched some crazy stuff. I think I just technically hit on where it is because I'm watching it on Hulu. I think it's now on season 3. Episode 150 something. So, yeah, I haven't really watched anything new this week. I've been pretty busy. And then we were kind of out of town for a little bit on Saturday. So, Chris would probably want to watch that, but we don't have Netflix.
Ooh.
I know. But Chris and I, we talked about it yesterday with my grandparents, and I was like, because you were talking about the fact that Hulu and Disney Plus are also going to be doing the same thing that Netflix has done, where they will no longer be letting password sharing do a thing. It's wholly, the whole thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
And, we technically use other people's Hulu currently, they're just already signed in from whatever. But Chris pays for Hulu and Disney Plus, so we'll still have those at least. But to be quite honest, I don't want to pay for Netflix because it's gone up so much. It's kind of ridiculous price.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But
that's me.
They're all going up in price, and that's a dang old thing.
Yeah. Streaming services. Everyone wants to get rid of cable, and suddenly streaming services are like, what if we did some little silly goose stuff?
Yeah.
This is not what the people want. Wait for that revolution.
All right. I am so excited to talk about this week's movie. I've been waiting. If you've been listening to the previous episode, you know that I have been waiting to talk about this movie for a literal month. We are talking about Fast and Furious. Fast 4, if you will. This is my umpteenth time seeing this movie. This is what I've always... You know what? I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to say nothing yet.
Oh.
I ain't going to say nothing. Oh.
He wants to.
I want to,
so bad.
But I am going to go ahead and pass it to you, Raven. Raven, please tell me what you thought of Fast and Furious, the 4th installment of this wonderful Fast and Furious franchise.
So, you pull the video up on Amazon Prime, and it loves to give you that little look into what's going on. and all it says is Brian and Dominic infiltrate a heroin operation. And I was like, all right, I'm sold. You got me. What are we doing here, boys? This movie starts with the crazy, where I'm just like, how? What are we doing here? Some of this stuff is insane. And I'm just going to continue to watch it because it's slightly dumb enough to keep my brain entertained. It's not the wrong side of the dumb. It's like just enough of the good side to like give that little scratch to be like, hey, don't zone out just yet. I like seeing Dom and Brian back together, doing their thing. Rest in peace to my girl Letty.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was an interesting watch, that's for sure. And we'll, of course, break it all down. But, Mark, go ahead and tell the people your thoughts of what you think about this movie.
This was so much fun because this is the hard line in the sand that I've been talking about. This movie starts off with an action scene that is, from here on out, probably one of the lowest stakes action scenes that we're going to see in the next 6 movies. And is by far the biggest one that we've seen up to this point. This is for sure the part in the franchise where we stop worrying about races and we start talking about family. I loved it. I had so much fun watching this movie because taking notes was a combination of me just writing down nonsense and then going, hold on a second. And then I would get caught up watching this. And then I would be like, oh shit, I forgot I'm supposed to take notes.
True.
The second you shut your brain off, this movie is fantastic. And that's the way I think these movies are meant to be enjoyed. But let's go ahead. Let's break this thing down. Let's talk about this opening sequence where these guys are stealing gas in the Dominican Republic, which, for the record, I think is the only time we talk about fuel this entire franchise. So
that's crazy.
What did you think, Raven, as you're sitting here watching all of this nonsense happen?
So the first little bit, I'm kind of like, oh, it's like a flashback to almost like the very beginning movie, where you basically just start out in the same shit. You got Dom and Letty doing their thing, and then I see my main man, Han, as a part of this gang. I was like, oh shit. That was fun. What a time. That dude that was driving the truck with his iguana.
Oh, yeah.
He was definitely a character, and his, 5 minutes of fame. There was a lot going on.
The part that got me is I was like, okay, cool. Like, they're stealing gas. That kind of tracks with these guys. Like, a cool action scene. But the part when the tank is on fire rolling down a hill and Letty and Dom are in whatever this car is, and Dom is clearly getting ready to like roll or drive under this thing as it's rolling over him. I don't know, man. Justin Lin, from the director of Tokyo Drift, was the one that directed this, so you can kind of see a lot of the same things going on. What did you think of Han being back?
Dude, I was excited. I was so upset when he RIP'd in the last movie. But then, he's here and he's there. And then he's nowhere.
That's true.
So I was trying to especially after we watched the movie, because I was like, okay, so the third movie, Han's dead. But in the fourth movie, he's technically there. And then he does the whole, I heard they doing some crazy shit over in Tokyo. And I was like, no, Han, don't do it. You fine. You stay here. So I'm trying to picture where the fifth one is going to try and slide in to these two universes of parallel times and whatnot shit. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll see.
Chris was like, hey, don't don't even think about it,
Yeah,
to be honest.
it's too early.
Because at some point, it's so much. And I was like, okay, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, no. When Dawn was going, like, turning around, that one scene, I was like, Dom really on some shit this movie, racing at a truck on fire. And then he's just, he's just deciding he is the main character. 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure. As little as she was in this movie, like I really liked Letty in this movie. Like in the beginning, I
Ride or
was
die, baby.
really feeling Michelle Rodriguez's like she was like, I'm only in this movie for about 5 minutes of screen time. Come on, I'm gonna act my ass off because this was, what year did this come out? 2009, I think. This was, Michelle Rodriguez had a lot of heat on her at this time. So she for sure was, 2009. So she was hot. I think she was also doing, during the same time, she was also doing Avatar with James Cameron and a few other things. So yeah. So yeah, she was busy. Let's see. We find out.
We got Brian.
Go ahead.
Brian back on his cop shit.
Yes, he is. I will say this is a great way if you're going to reintroduce Brian. Is him chasing after somebody, and it is just a fantastic, like, on the foot, foot race. Yes, there we go. I knew I'd get there. Just chasing after somebody, man. That was dope.
That was fun to watch him just like flinging himself off of rooftops, flying down some stairs. But man, that part where he literally pushes dude off out the window and he lands on top of him on a car. I'm like, how is this man alive?
Didn't even gotta think about that.
I don't care how far you fell. Oh my God. The fact that man was conscious and he's like, I don't know shit. Give me a name. David Parker. Like, he was so easy to break.
Well, I mean, listen, if I was trying to kill someone and he jumped out of a window and threw me off of 3 stories onto a car and then proceeded to whoop my ass some more, I'd be like, dude, whatever you want. Like, that's it. That's good enough for me. Here you go. David Park, sir.
Here you go. I will give you my written testament right here, right now, in my own blood. Thank you. Ridiculous.
So, and, Brian's back on his bullshit. How we're going to get the bad guy. I don't know how we're going to get the bad guy. We need you to get the bad guy. And it's, how dare you let Dominic Toretto get away? And the only thing I'm thinking at this point is like, why are you bringing up old shit? Like, he clearly got back on the force, man. Stop bringing that up.
He's not even on just the force. Motherfucker part of the FBI at this point.
That's right. He's done upgraded.
Crazy.
And then we fast forward to we're in Panama, and Dominic Toretto's at a payphone, which is weird. Because he's like, I told you not to call me at this number. And like, well, what number is she supposed to call you at, Dom? Like, come on, man.
The secret cell phone number.
Right.
Duh.
Like,
but then you just find out about Letty.
Letty died.
And Dom's like, man, this is my fault.
She was family. The funeral scene was great. There was all these black cars and like 4 the brightest plain ass cars you could have found.
Right behind the hearse.
Right behind the hearse. And there was all these people there and everything. And of course, Dom can't be seen because he's a wanted man. So he's hanging out there up on the hill, watching from afar.
I thought for sure he would show up to the funeral. Man.
There's so much effort is put into making Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto, look tough. And there's some more because I remember that I made like a few notes about like certain camera angles and stuff like that. But just him standing up on that oil field like, I can't go down there. It's too dangerous.
Dude, he was so ballsy this entire movie. You're just like, bro, any other person would just easily get caught. He got that serial killer mentality when they know that they're about to get caught. And he's just like, fuck it. We ball.
Yeah. And I wrote this in my notes, and they eventually talk about it a little bit, but this is the first time that Brian and Mia have interacted since Fast 1. It's wild to think because now we're on the 4th movie in the franchise. So we have had the intro movie with Brian, Dom, and the rest of the family. And then part 2 where Brian is in Miami and no Vin Diesel and the rest of the family. They presumably went down to Dominican Republic. And then Fast 3 where we're in Tokyo where we don't see anybody except for like 10 seconds of Vin Diesel at the end. So, you know, it's weird to think that now we're back with our original cast of characters, and Brian, who's part of the FBI now, is at a funeral, and this is the first time he sees Mia in 5 years, I think they say.
Yes, I was going to say that. The fact that it's been 5 years, but supposedly Mia and Brian kind of live in the same area-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And time works so weird in this movie, in these movies, period. Because I think we were talking about this last week, where it's just like, hey, we need to do a thing. And then we get a montage, and we're like, cool, clearly months have passed for this very pressing thing that we are about to go do. But clearly months have passed because we're working on cars that take literal months to fix. So I'm just like, how much time has it been since Dom left? Because Mia stayed there. What's Mia doing? Mia's just at home, I guess, just getting payments from Dom to live in that house. Just be like, yeah, just keep the grass cut and, don't paint my walls or anything.
She got a little underground job, or just a little easy job at like a barista or something. To just be like,
she's serving
I'm just
tuna
filling
fish
my
sandwiches.
time until my brother comes back. What are you guys up to?
No, she's working at that little diner / garage making tuna fish sandwiches. That's all she's doing.
Ugh. No, they got rid of the tuna as soon as Brian left. They were like, no more of this.
No more. It only attracts trouble.
Bring him back. Them stray cats coming around.
So what'd you think when Mia took Dom, when Dom was like, I want to see the crash site? And for some inexplicable reason, Mia knows exactly where this is. And again, where is this? Where is this part at? Because the geography of everything that's happening is really weird. Because we'll find out later, like, oh, hey, they went across the border and then they stopped at this one place to do the trade-off, and Michelle Rodriguez Letty ran, and did they chase him presumably from San Diego all the way back to Los Angeles?
Dude, you and I had like a conversation kind of like this, where it was like they hid those like cars that they were using to go steal other stuff and whatnot. And it was just like in plain sight that people could have easily been like, hey, here's those undercover cars that we were looking for.
Right.
This, it's the movie magic.
Yeah, just don't think about it.
No, you can't do it. But I also was like, I don't know. Maybe they like told me, they were like, hey, this is technically the area. I don't know. I don't know if that's like a normal thing that police are like, oh yeah, someone you love has died. Where was it? Well, it's kind of a crime scene right now, but here's every detail you need to know.
Well, it could have been like, hey, we found her on, we found her on Highway 10 just outside of Los Angeles. Like I'm sure that could have been That could have been what they said, not so much like explicit detail, but like, oh yeah, we found her in the mountains of whatever, just outside of Los Angeles. She's like, okay, and then she goes there and just sees broken glass and car parts everywhere. I was like, this must be it. So I don't know.
Yeah, you look
This is
for,
headcanon.
the little tire tracks and burnt area on the road, I guess. And then she's like, found it. I don't know, because Dom looked at the whole scene and could 100% imagine how it went through. We saw a car kind of ghostly pass through Dom, so there's anything.
Well, this scene prompted me to make a running list of Dom's superhuman powers that he will have for the rest of the franchise. So we're going to start off. We're going to start off with this scene and just say telepathy is the best way I can describe this. The way he was CSIing the crash scene.
All right.
So just keep that in your back pocket, because when we're all done with this, I want to do one episode where we just talk about the franchise as a whole, and I'm going to go through and run down the list of all of Dominic Toretto's superpowers that he has by the end of the franchise.
Take a shot every time you hear the word family. Take a shot every time Dom does something that is not normal human behavior, that can only mean that he is radioactive Spider-Man sensing some shit. Man. Yeah, that was interesting.
And what's so wild is from this crash scene that is presumably days, weeks, a month old, who knows, he can recognize the burn marks as they are nitromethane fuel. And then the next scene, he goes to a mechanic and he's like, hey, what's up with this Ford Mustang that you hooked up with nitromethane? I'm like, how in the world do you know that this is a Ford Mustang? How could you possibly know that? And then this leads us into superpower number 2. Now, this one might be a little bit of a different thing, but when he starts beating up on the mechanic guy and throws him on a hood, and then that engine starts falling and he catches it with the chain. Now,
a single hand.
Right. Now we can look at this one of two ways. Pulleys be doing what pulleys be doing. Okay. So it could be that there's a system of pulleys there with that chain. So by the time Vin Diesel grabs that chain, it's heavy, but it's not too heavy. Or
he big tough man.
Or we could just say Vin Diesel has super strength because he caught that engine before it crushed old dude. And I'm going to go with that.
All right. Why not? What else do we have to lose to not just think that Dom is a superhuman? To be honest.
At this point, we don't know what he did in Dominican Republic. He could have been down there getting government experimented on, and now he's got superhuman powers.
Ooh.
And whoever he deems family gets superhuman powers as well.
Noted. All right.
Oh, geez. I think this is the part where I just kind of zoned out and just started enjoying the movie, because there's a big gap, I think, from where Dom finds out that David Park is the guy he's looking for to the time when we actually meet David Park and Dom's hanging him out of a window.
That's him being ballsy. Broad daylight, you got a man dangling out of a roof. You don't see the dude in a suit running underneath to then run up on you. And then it's Brian being like, Dom, drop it. I need that. And instantly, Brian gets the guy. He goes back to the FBI. Homie tries to just start some shit with Brian. And Brian just beats the shit out of his face. And I just love the main dude that's like, you're bleeding on my floor. Get it cleaned up.
I liked. This was weird because I don't know if they were just overcompensating, and I wasn't sure if they had all those other FBI guys in there running around as like a way for us to dislike those guys. You know, when as a grown up responsible adult now, I'm like, they're just doing their job. Like they're doing the right thing. Well, except for the one jerk, like he's just being a jerk. Like he's every office jerk that just needs to get taken down a peg. All right, so I'm okay with that. But like the chief was like, yes, like bring Dominic Toretto in. He is a wanted criminal. Bring him in. You know, he did the right thing by firing Brian. You know, I know that's not the most popular thing to say, but you know, like I know they were trying to do that. They had to have been trying to do that. So we're like, man, fuck them guys. Go Brian. Go Dominic Toretto. But as I'm watching this time, I'm like, come on, man. Like, just just make them just the most minimalist of characters. So we're not looking at it from their perspective. It's like, yes, bring them people in.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. But go ahead.
I was going to say, and this is when we get our reunion with Dom and Brian. And the acting, Shakespeare would have been proud of Vin Diesel going, I'm going to kill this Braga. And it looks directly down the barrel of the camera. I mean, straight into my soul sitting on the couch. And I'm like, yes, Vin Diesel, that's exactly what you needed to say.
You do exactly what you gonna do, sir. Okay, but the freaking side eye that Dom and Brian give each other when they like drive past each other and they're just like, here we go again.
Right. Yes.
Man.
Yeah, when we get to the race, holy shit. I knew that Gal Gadot was in this franchise, okay? She plays a way bigger role later on. I couldn't remember where she came in at. So, when she popped up, I was like, oh shit, that's right. Giselle. Yes. Okay, cool. She showed up in this movie. Awesome. And I have some notes about how they did Gal Gadot absolutely wrong in this movie. But we'll touch on those in a minute. But when they're doing the big race to get to the thing, all right. First off, 35 minutes into the movie, and this is our first like real race of this movie. Okay. And they got wild video game GPSs in the cars.
Thank you.
Is Dom really even racing a car if it's not doing a wheelie?
How did he do that? How did he start off the race with his car on two wheels?
Man.
I lost it. I was like, yep, nope, here we go.
I know.
Mark wasn't joking. We on this.
I told you.
We on this dumb shit.
We are on this bullshit. And so now Dom, Brian, two other dudes, they're racing. It's crazy. Dwight is over there going, listen, Dwight don't be racing. What you think, baby? What's up? We're gonna talk about Dwight again in a minute because there's a footnote to Dwight. But
I know
with all of the video gameness that's going on, I forgot all about that, and I am glued to this scene because we got GPS. We're rerouting. This is crazy. Brian's on side streets. What are we doing? And listen, I will stand by this right now. Brian absolutely was winning that race until Vin Diesel cheated. Okay, 100%. This becomes a thing in later movies. Okay, so I'm going to say right now, Brian absolutely won that race. But it's in Vin Diesel's contract that he can't lose. So there we go.
Oh my God. I hate it.
Ugh.
It's so dumb.
And the slide, we're at the end of the race, and Dom comes sliding into the finish line. And the way that camera move, he does this a couple times, where like he slides right to the camera and he's like, yes. It is such a, oh man, it's a music video move, is what it is. And it's fantastic.
Bro. Yeah. No, watching the scene, there's a little bit of drifting going on. Because, Dom be running that shit. Because he was running around with Han. And so, the OG DK, as you would.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they were drifting like crazy.
Yeah, they were. The scene where Brian is like trying to get right back in line with like Dom, but he just keeps turning around and it just keeps rerouting. And I was like, come on, do a big jump. And then he goes, sorry, car, and then just drives down that like stairs and everything else. I was like, that's the most realistic thing for me, is because I would be like, sorry, car. I definitely would be like talking to my car like, I didn't mean to do this to you, buddy. We'll get it fixed later. But that cracked me up. And those wrecks, they were not playing with these wrecks.
Oh, they were not.
In this movie. Nope. They were doing some crazy stuff with some of these car wrecks. Whew. But yeah, no. Dom winning, and then, Brian's got to get in this race somehow. So I love the whole little scene where you go to Dwight's house, and he's over there on his foot fetish gang, getting some video, getting some good, and then the next moment, he gets raided, and he's like, I ain't never done, Dwight ain't never touched meth. And he was like, well, we'll see about that. And Brian's just like, planting meth. The FBI was just like, yeah, let's do this, boys. This is fine. We got to get in this race somehow. Fuck this little kid.
Now, did you recognize Dwight, the actor who plays Dwight?
I did not, but your brother sure did.
Ah, yes. What did he say?
Good old Beast Boy.
Yep, that is the actor's name is Greg Sipes. I heard him say something, and I was like, oh, shit, that is Greg Sipes. It was one of them things where he's like, oh, no, and he did like that kind of high-pitched Beast Boy voice, and I was like, oh, yes, it is him.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
No. And then directly after that, I put in my notes, forgot to take notes. Brian is in the club asking the most cop questions. So, again, don't know what happens in between this point and the time we end up in the nightclub, because I'm just zoned out watching this fantastic movie.
Because I totally put, Brian is sneaking around like a cop. Like 100%. He is looking suspicious as heck.
Yeah, he is.
And then you got homegirl being so thirsty for Dom, being like, let's show, what do you like more, cars or women? And he's like, it's all about the body, blah, blah, blah.
I want a girl who can get grease under her fingernails.
That doesn't sound like me. Yeah. And then he just walks out. He's like, I'm good. It's cool.
This is the part where I think they did Gal dirty, because out of all of the outfits you could give Gal Gadot, you gave her a white tank top with no bra.
Yeah.
In a clearly cold set.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, man. Like, this is Miss Israel, I think. And you're just gonna do that to her. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. So, but it works out. So, I mean, she obviously, her character's weird in this movie, because it's kind of like, I can't figure out this character's motivations. And that sounds so dumb for this movie. This was actually her first acting role.
It's fair.
Her first movie acting
Because,
role. Sorry.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. No, because it really did seem like she didn't have like a legitimate place in the movie, to be honest. I kind of figured, I felt the same way that you did. Because it was just like, does she want to be a part of like the crew? Is she just here to be like, what's up? I just kind of help out around here. Like, I don't know. She's just there to be thirsty for Dom. That's the big reason.
Pretty much. Let's see. Where do we go? Oh, yeah. Let's see. They were in the club.
We go to that big driving scene where we go under some tunnels. We're driving in the dark.
Oh, this
We're
was
in the
so
desert,
good.
lined up 2 feet from each other while we're, blasting through 90 just to make sure that the border government can't find us with their heat signatures.
This is like the first in a long line of where we just say technobabble and we just expect the audience to go, yep, heat signatures. That's cool. That makes sense. So what? We only have 20 seconds? And I don't understand why they're like, oh, you only have 20 seconds, so you have to get out of there right now. Why? Why? Keep us in there. Let us hang out. Shut the cars off. Give us about an hour. Let us get out of there.
Chris also asked that. And I was like, because the helicopters, Chris, they sent the big birds out.
They can't see through a mountain.
But what if... what? I don't know, man.
I couldn't believe that once we got done with that scene, what's his name? Phoenix? The big muscular henchman guy. He's having his big moment with Dom. And it dawns on me for the first time that this man has a hammer and sickle communist like Russian symbol like tattooed very largely on his neck. And I'm like, what's the story behind that? How in the world did a Mexican drug runner get that?
I don't know, but I also noticed it and was just like, we don't need backstory. It's cool. He's just going to do him. And honestly, I'm going to let him do him until it gets to the point. Because, only pussies run nitro meth.
Right. These dudes are the absolute least subtle dudes. Like, pick when to start shit. This is not the time to be starting shit. I don't know if you can hear that thunder outside of my house right now. Apparently a storm has rolled in.
Ooh.
And it is rough out there.
Nice. But right after this little section of notes, I put family. First time family gets brought up. Because they do the whole scene where, Dom gets shot. So he's like, oh shit, let's go to Mia. And so then they have they're in the dark and she's like, the bullet's not in there. What do you mean it's not in there? Did it reflect off of his bone? Because apparently it didn't seem like it went through.
Okay, this leads me to superpower number 3. Dom may or may not be bulletproof. May or may not.
I think we know the answer. His bones are bulletproof. His skin, not so much.
Okay, cool. I will put bulletproof bones.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
But you got them having their nice little dinner. And she's like, be careful, it's spicy. And then Dom takes a big bite of something. And she's like, whoa. And he's like, I like spice. This is, once again, I love having the subtitles or the captions on. Because you get to see everything going on. And it's so funny. But then Dom goes through that little box of Letty stuff. And he's looking through it, and then he finds the phone, and he does the call button. And Brian's like, oh shit, I'm about to get my ass whooped. She did it for you. She did it for you, Dom, so that you could come home. Dom was beaten on my man Brian.
And he had just a little bit of a bloody nose. That's it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of one.
After, throwing him all around. He literally, like, because Brian wrapped his legs around Dom's neck. Dom just picks him up and tries to, like, drop him. And then that's when Brian's like, she did it for you.
And you owe me a 10-second car. Shut up. Shut up. We're not doing callbacks like that right now.
We're gonna break this window. Here you go. You got your car. Yeah.
Right after this scene, I put in my notes, I was like, dude, Brian is constantly fucking up. Like from a friend acquaintance standpoint, all right, let's just say I was Mia or Dom in this instance, and I found out now that Brian has basically been running Letty as like, oh hey, you're the one who's been ultimately responsible for her death, and Brian's like, I know, man, I'm so sorry, and I would be like, it's best if you just leave. Like, you are clearly trouble. You have failed at a cop, and they kind of bring this up like, well, what's your code? Shut up, Mia. No, he's constantly making bad decisions. He broke Mia out of interrogation. Okay, that's a big no-no. They stashed the drugs, the like $6 million worth of heroin in a police impound. That's a horrible idea. Okay, especially when
is it going to be safe here? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all he said was yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, he's drug running in Mexico without authority. Like, he's just constantly making horrible decisions. And I would just be like, no, Brian, you need to go. You clearly are working through some things, and I don't need to be here for this.
True.
No.
So true. But also, the FBI, like, knows that Dom is back in the area, and yet they never catch him when he goes to his home.
Right.
He goes and he fixes up that car. He's in the house. He's doing things. And Mia's like, they're surveilling the house. Don't worry, I won't get caught. How? What are you? Are you Batman? Are you lurking in the shadows, ready to get your vengeance? Like, how are you an enigma to the mind of the police that are just constantly there looking for you only? Insane.
It is. It is crazy. We get the big drug drop off. How soon was it did you ping that was not Braga?
Chris thought that it was going to be, what's her name?
Oh,
he was like, oh, is it going to be,
Wonder Woman?
Shoot. Yeah.
Giselle? Yeah.
Yeah, Giselle. And I was like, it makes sense that they'd just be like, here's our fraud. But the fact that it was just like the main guy the whole time, I was like, okay. It kind of makes sense to just be like, yeah, you'll meet him when you meet him, so that way he can always have that little bit of a, I fully know what's going down. I see how y'all be type stuff. But yeah. And then after that, the just like insane chase. Just like start of stupidity starts.
It is nonstop from this point on. It is. We absolutely have to go balls to the wall for like the next 30 minutes. And yeah, that's what happens. It's crazy from this point on. I think we get a slight what's the word? Reprieve when we go to Mexico and Braga is in the church, which I thought that priest was going to die. But from like the last 30 minutes of the movie, that's the only time we have to catch our breath. And it's like a quick breath because once they get him from the church and they're trying to get him across the border, it is insane, and I am here for every single bit of it. This is what the Fast and the Furious franchise is at this point. Just obscene car races. We're riding through fucking tunnels. We got cars doing flips in tunnels. They're blowing up. We're shooting guns. We're tunnels closed and Dom comes barreling out through it like, yeah. That's what this franchise is at this point. From here on out, this is what it is. And yeah, I didn't even take any notes for the rest of the movie. I'm just enjoying it at this point.
The fact that like only one person was like, "Hey, stop shooting at the car that's got the boss." Like everyone was just like, "Let's get them, boys. Let's wreck these cars up." Where you're like, "Hey, who's gonna get paid if this man dies?" But yeah, no. The tunnel scene, insane. You get so many car wrecks. You get that one car that literally like almost gets split in half. Wild. They're breaking through rock walls, and then Dom, you think, oh no, he didn't make it out of that rock slide tunnel going on. What was he doing? Because he was just sitting there for a second. And then he just comes flying out to where Brian then grabs Big Bad Boy's freaking leg, and Dom just runs the car straight into him. Like, I hope you're instantly dead, because if not,
I really thought
that's awful.
I really thought he was going to come back, like one
and start trying to shoot him.
One last big
I'll
like
get you.
But he did.
No.
And
man, that was insane.
And I kind of blacked out a little bit. Did they kill Braga, or is he in jail? He's in jail.
Yes.
Okay.
They took him to
That's
jail.
Right.
They got him because Brian was like, dude, you better get going. But Dom was ready to face the music of his crimes.
Yeah, he was.
Get sentenced to 25 to life with no early parole. And then this is the part where I was like, Brian is so fucking fired. Because what the fuck? You're telling me that he's gonna like start trying to break this man out of from even ever having to go to prison. They're on the bus. And Dom is just like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna just sit here and look like the saddest little guy ever. And all the other prisoners are like, yo, what's going on out here? Until Dom's finally like, oh, it's my crew. Okay. An absolute bananas ending, but I knew it. As soon as I saw him on the bus, I was like, they're going to do it, aren't they? And they all start pulling up, and I was like, God, this movie's going to become so predictable. I want to know, for the next few movies, I'm just going to be like, okay, is this going to happen? Okay, there it is. Is this going to happen? Yep, there it goes. Until it just gets to like super crazy outlandish stuff that I'm like, is this going to happen? We just took a entire 180 and I don't understand how we got here now.
Okay, so from to answer your question, you're going to be sitting there watching this going, does this happen? The answer is yes. It is. We're just at such the tip of the iceberg.
Man.
This was a good kind of, hey, here's where we're at right now. Like, here's the absurdity in play. Here's the rules of the universe, if you will. All right. We're glad that you went to go see this to the tune of $360 million in a box office return for a movie that only cost $85 million. So we will absolutely make more. And important to note, this is the first time Vin Diesel is credited as a producer in a Fast film. So that's important because we
this is how you know he can't lose.
That's right. Absolutely. Oh man. This is so much fun. I'm so glad we're at this part of the franchise now. It's the best for me.
I am so intrigued to see what lies ahead. I want to know if at some point, like, I'm just going to be like, okay, my brain has been, like, run over and fried by all these cars. I can't. If at some point I'm just like, no, I can't do this. What do you mean we're on this long airstrip and we've been driving for like 37 miles?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'm genuinely worried about this with you as someone who hasn't seen the movies. I am worried that watching them so quickly, because right now we're looking at the Fast franchise. We've spent the last month watching these movies, and this is almost a decade's worth of films we've watched so far. So
That's crazy.
this has gone from yeah. So the first one, where is the first one? Right. Oh no, that's his producer credit, not actor credit. So first one I think we said was 2001. Yes. So
Yeah.
2001 to 2009. So we're looking at like 8 years worth of films right now. And we've watched them in 4 weeks. And I don't want you to be like, oh, geez, man, really? They're doing this now? Like, because you're mainlining the absurdity. Shut your brain off and enjoy it. You will. It took me years.
That's fair.
It took me years to get to the point, especially when we get to like Fast 6, the notorious runway scene, where I was fuming. Like, what are we even doing in life? And then I went back and watched it like a couple years later, and was like, okay, this is actually really fantastic if I just do not pay attention to the physics.
I think it might actually be better for me to be doing it the way that we are currently, because I feel like if I watched, the scene that you're talking about, I'd be like, you know what? If I had been, spacing myself out, watching them in the same way that everyone else had, as they're actually coming out and whatnot, I think at some point I would have been like, you know what? This movie's, I've had it. But the fact that I know that we're already going to do all of the movies, and so I can watch them get progressively more idiotic and just wild and out there stuff, it might be a little bit easier for me, to be honest. Let's be honest. I watch One Piece, and I watch some crazy stuff happen in One Piece. So if I can watch a silly little cartoon, I'll just think of this as live action, different world, One Piece, but it's all cars instead of the fruits and stuff. I don't know. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But at some point, my brain will probably just be like, are they gonna keep going? Vin Diesel's gonna literally be like 80 years old, and it's gonna be what was the movie? That super famous actor. Oh, I can't think of it right now. I can literally like picture him, but like used to be a big star, and he was like a hit, and then he made a movie while I was still working at Regal in Chattanooga a few years ago, where it was like he's 80 years old and he's supposed to play this like badass, and he brings home some kid from like Mexico or something like that, and I was like, what are we doing here?
Are you talking?
This man could.
Clint Eastwood?
Yes, Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Thank you. But yes, but the fact that I know that he's just like at that age, and I'm like, this does not make sense in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like at some point, especially with Dom, I'm going to be like, no, sir, you can't always win.
But old white people love Clint Eastwood. Boomers love. Here's the funny thing. We went and when we came and saw y'all in Chattanooga, and y'all were working at the Regal, we I think I saw Shang-Chi, and they went and
Yes,
saw the Clint Eastwood movie. And I walked
they
out and I
sure
was
did.
like, that was great. I had such a good time. I ate popcorn and stuffed my face full of candy, and it was fantastic. And I was like, how was your movie? And here's exactly how this went. They said, when you hear the name Clint Eastwood, what do you think? And I said, an old white man yelling at Mexicans looking really grumpy. And they go, well, all right, yep. That's pretty much sums up what we watched, but that's not what we think. Like,
Dang.
so yeah, even though like apparently by all accounts Clint Eastwood is like a pretty dope dude in real life, he's carved out like this niche for him in his movies where just people my dad's age are like, yeah, that's right. I'm grumpy and angry too. I can relate to this character.
Yeah.
But oh man. All right. Final thoughts. Fast and Furious. Anything else you want to add?
Nah, we just gonna keep driving and making
Yeah, we
family.
are. Did you know there was a short film directed by Vin Diesel as a sequel to this movie?
No,
Y-
interesting.
Called Los Bandoleros.
Los
I
Bandoleros.
can't tell you. It's like a 20-minute short film that Vin Diesel shot and directed. It's a prequel to Fast and Furious, um, assembling his crew in the Dominican Republic. There we go. So, yeah.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
And I'm trying to see if there is like where we can actually watch it. And uh I guess I don't know. We'll find it. We'll find it and we'll record like a little mini episode on this cuz there's no telling what I want to say I've seen it, but I just can't remember anything about it. So,
All right.
all right.
Sounds good.
So, all right, let's move into the next part of the episode. Let's talk about everything that has put a smile on our face this week, even through we having rough weeks or whatever. Man, let's be thankful for the little things that happen. Raven, please tell me what has made you happy this week.
We once again went out of town so we could go hang out with my grandparents. Somebody has a birthday coming up soon, and they just wanted to make a nice little dinner for us to celebrate. And it was great. My grandmother made Mexican food, which is my favorite thing. Uh, she made margaritas. My grandfather, I'll have to send you the photo, because my goodness, we were cracking up. Because this man, when he drinks, he likes to drink. He doesn't always like super go hard, because especially if he has work at the next morning, he's like, I don't want any form of hangover.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing. This man sat down and had 4 margaritas and 1.5 Dos Equis.
Oh.
And at some point, he goes off because he's like, I'm going to go do something downstairs. And we're like, okay, go do that. You might need a nap soon. And my mom starts doing the dishes. And then eventually she's like, he's still not back up here. I'm going to go check on him. I was like, I can go do it. And she's like, nah, it's okay. I got to let some of this stuff soak. So we go downstairs. And I just find this man. Because, like, normally he'd just be in the basement. He's not in the basement. And she's just like, where is he? And I was like, check the camper, see if he's passed out in the bed in the camper. Camper's closed. We walk around almost to like the front of our house, and I find this man, and I was like, no, ain't no way. Man is propped up on his van, and she just walks up to him, and she's like, are you awake? Are you okay? And he's just like not responding. And then the mail person starts to come, and she's like, Gene, get up. You don't want the mail carrier to think that you're. And I'm like, the mail carrier doesn't care. I'm sure the mail carrier sees enough crazy stuff. A little drunk man just having a good time. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
I had to help this man go upstairs. It was so funny. I sent you a photo of how I found him. But yeah, and then we all eventually like sat in the living room. He passed out. Chris passes out while I put on a show that the biggest reason that I'm upset that we no longer have Netflix is I Think You Should Leave by Tim Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
And so I start playing that. It was a good time, and we all like pass out at some point, and then I wake up at some point, and he has ice cream in front of my face, and he's like, "Look what I got," and I'm like, "You're awake and okay. All right, let's go." And then my grandparents got the cutest little cake from like one of my favorite bakeries, and she got it specifically decorated in a way that she was like, "Raven will think this is so cute." And so we had a nice little time celebrating my birthday. But yeah, that's what genuinely made me happy. I see that you have looked at this photo.
I have. It is fantastic.
It's pretty
I
good.
want to be that cool when I get older.
I'm sure you will.
I know what I want to be when I grow up.
All right, Mark. What's made you happy this week?
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Like, I don't know. I've had a few couple like great little highlights this week. I took my bulldog to go get a pup cup one morning, and she was so happy, and she got whipped cream all over her little bulldoggy snoot, and it was just the funniest thing in the world to me. We put sunglasses on her today. Was it today? Because I was like, I wonder if she'll sit still long enough to let me put sunglasses on her, or any type of glasses for that matter. Let's see where this pans out. So I didn't tell any of the kids what I was doing, and I said, Alice, go get me some glasses. She was like, I don't even know where my glasses are. I'm like, go get me glasses. So she comes back out with like these, I don't even know, they're like bootleg designer shades. And I tell my bulldog to sit down, and I'm like, Sasha, sit. And she sits there and she looks at me with that dumb bulldog face that is just so awesome. And that one brain cell just a rattling around in her brain. And I put the glasses on her, and they stay there for all of about 1.5 seconds before she slings her head and slings the glasses. But we got pictures, and they are hilarious.
I saw the photo. It was very cute.
So, and I think it was Thursday night. I've been wanting to wanting something. I need a change jar, and I've been trying to find a change jar somewhere, something that I can use as a change jar, and I just can't find anything. And now that I think about it, I have the perfect thing sitting on one of my entertainment stands, sitting literally 10 feet from me right now. It's behind me. I could turn around and get it. I'm such a dummy. But I was like, screw it. I'll just print one. I'll design something and print it. So what I did is I sat down in my 3D modeling program of choice, which I am not really good at it. And I'm sending you a couple pictures right now of what I designed. And it was basically what in Nintendo language is called a bob-omb. And I designed the little feet and the little wrench, and where the wick would go out of the top of the head, I made that the coin slot. And it took me a couple hours because I was figuring a lot of stuff out as I was doing it. But I did it, and I'm really proud of it. It's a little bit off center. The weight's kind of weird. It took about 18 hours to print. Well, more than 18 hours. About 40 hours. There we go. Yeah, about 40 hours to print. And
Ooh.
it came out wonderful. I can't wait to paint it and get everything like looking real good. And yeah, I am just super duper ultra proud of myself because this came from my brain, and I created it and made it a thing and printed it, and I just could not be happier. It was beautiful.
It looks pretty cute. I can see it right now.
Yeah. It's a little bit smaller than I wanted, but in the end, I'm kind of okay with it because it's not like weighted right. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll print like a big base for it or something and just Just glue it on top of that, just so it's got like a sturdy base to sit on. But it's really cute, man. I think I might just have to make a couple more and see if I can't sell them to somebody.
Nice.
So, all right, Raven, please tell everybody where they can find you on social medias.
You guys can find me over on the Twitterverse at spooky_Raven. I also hang out on Instagram sometimes at That's So Raven Ellis. You can find this lovely little podcast anywhere you feel like. It's called Nerd for No Reason. Just look that up. You'll find us. Mark, how about you? Where you at?
You can find me on all major social media platforms at Turtles Do It. Yeah, it's real simple. I'm on the Twitters, the Instagrams, and the Blue Skies. Look for me. I'm your friend. Yeah. I'm on Facebook too, but I don't really typically get on there too much anymore. It's mainly just so I can share pictures of my kids with my family. You know how it goes. So, thanks everybody for listening, for tuning in. I'm having so much fun watching these movies again. Raven, I hope you're enjoying wow words. Enjoying them as well.
It's quite a ride. But
Oh, I wish I could fire you. Oh my God, that was great. That was great. Horrible at the same time. But no, this has been super fun. I love rewatching these movies. I love going back into work on Mondays and going, we're talking about Fast 4. We're talking about the Fast and the Furious right now. And it's great. This is the part where they did this and that. And then I got another guy at work who's I guess because I've been talking about, he's been catching the movies that he hasn't watched yet. So he came in and was like, I just watched Fast 7. What the fuck is going on? I'm like, I know. So next week we'll be back with Fast 5. We're more on that family shit. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to talk about it again. In the meantime, follow the show, like the show, download the show, share it with your friends. Let you guys tell us what your favorite Fast and the Furious parts are in the franchise. When we get to them, we'll talk about them, man. We'll shout you out. We'll do all of that kind of good stuff. I'm shilling right now. I don't care. Tell
us your favorite Dom superhero moment.
Tell us your favorite Dom superhero moment. Or anybody's favorite superhero moment, because I know that some of the supporting cast in the future movies has some spectacular superhuman moments. And I'm not talking about Hobbs and Shaw, where Idris Elba becomes a literal superhuman. Not there. We're not there yet, because they just kind of throw all subtlety out the window. Like, oh man, he's basically he's basically indestructible. It's crazy. So with that, I love you. I can't wait for next week, and go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go in just the coolest media around, and we'll see you again next week when we zoom on this little podcast once again. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.